Carlson Software, and appreciate you taking the time to take a look today. I'm based out of New Hampshire, and I've been with Carlson for 2 years now. And what I'd like to address today is just kind of the idea of sharing data and exchanging data with other users using any software that's out there, basically. And of course, I don't have every program in the world on my machine, but what I do have running, and so we've got a little bit of an interesting experiment here, so bear with me. I'm hoping for the best, but we'll see. But I'm running Land Desktop and Civil 3D and Carlson Software, Carlson Civil, all at the same time on my laptop, which is a 2 gigahertz processor, 1 gig of RAM. We're not going to be using massive data sets, but it should be interesting. So I want to basically address some of these questions and issues about exchanging data. Some folks are looking at Carlson Software and are concerned, well, am I going to be able to continue to take care of all my customers and so on. So I want to make sure that we cover some of that material today. Another thing that's going to be a little bit different, if you've seen some of the others, today's is going to be a little bit different in that I'm going to work on the questions and answers myself. So I'm going to do some demonstration, and then I will be switching over, looking at the questions, because the reason is I'd like to answer some of those as we go, and have this kind of interactive as much as possible. Although you can't voice your questions to me, you can type them. But please be aware that if you type a question and it doesn't get answered right away, it's because I'm basically doing both. So, like I said, I want to go through some material that I want to share with you, and then I'll open up the question and the answers, hopefully about 12:30, and try and read some of those and see if I can respond to them on screen and so on. So it should be an interesting hour. Just keep that in mind. You've got the dial-up numbers. Probably most of you have done this before, but and if you have, welcome back, and if you have not, welcome aboard. Just dial that number and the access code you see, and that'll get you in here, and we'll be able to proceed. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and just kind of launch this off with a very short, kind of an introductory type of a PowerPoint here. This is my name, Gary Rosen, and my email is grosen@carlsonsw.com. The main website, of course, is carlsonsw, as in software.com. And please visit that website, and there's lots of good information there about all the exciting stuff going on. There's an area there to log into webinars, which I'm sure you all used to get to this one. And you also probably noticed all of the webinars are recorded, and there's quite a nice library of those going back on a wide range of subjects. So those are available for you to review and share with friends and colleagues and so on. This one will be up there probably later today. My very quick background is, again, I'm based out of New Hampshire. I'm in the Boston office today. I come down here about once a week and work with the folks down here. I've been surveying since '79, and I got into AutoCAD and actually DCA Sofdesk in that same year of '87. I moved from Colorado to New Hampshire. Discovered that 20 minutes from where I moved, there was some very interesting software being developed by Dave Arnold and the gang, and I got involved in that. So I've been doing Civil CAD for 20 years now, which is kind of scary and a little sad, but exciting too. But I've been at this for a long time. I did 4 years as a CAD technician and designer with several firms. And then I went out on my own as a trainer and a consultant for 14 years, doing essentially Sofdesk, focusing on Sofdesk, and then, of course, Land Desktop. 2 years ago, I joined Carlson Software. The business I had was called Electric Pelican Inc. I also had training videos and a book on Land Desktop and a book on Sofdesk and so on, and got to know a lot of end users and really understand what they do. And then 2 years ago, I joined Carlson Software, and I'm the Director of Engineering Sales focused on civil in the Northeast region. So just so you know who I am and who's talking to you today. The focus for today, again, is data conversion. Probably other terms that you could use, but that's the basic idea. And basically what I'm talking about is very simply sharing data between civil survey applications. Whatever civil survey software you're using, you're generating different types of data, as you're all well aware, and how am I going to deal with that working with other people? The key to this whole thing, and the main thing that everyone wants to make sure of, which is, of course, the absolute necessity, is to continue to take good care of all your clients. Now, again, if you're a survey company, your clients may be engineering firms. If you're a survey division, it might be the engineering division or department across the hall. Whoever you're working with, up and down the ladder, you need to be able to communicate with all these people, and that's where your livelihood comes from, and that's the key to what you're doing. So, being extremely aware of that and focusing to make sure that there's no bumps along that road, this is what we're going to look at today, and Carlson Software has addressed this very, very carefully to make sure that there are not issues. The first one to make clear is that Carlson Software is not instead of AutoCAD, it is AutoCAD. We are 100% AutoCAD-based, DWG, native Autodesk DWG, not any sort of a clone or anything. We're running in AutoCAD DWG, and in addition, we create no custom objects or proprietary objects that are Carlson objects or variations on AutoCAD per se. We are totally native AutoCAD. So the first thing to be aware of is every drawing you create, regardless of what winds up in it, points, surfaces, contours, center lines, profiles, cross-sections, whatever you're doing, parcels, labels, everything is a standard AutoCAD object. So you save that drawing, and you can give that drawing to anyone using any AutoCAD product. Now, obviously, there's DWG version issues, as there always have been. We're on AutoCAD 2000. Well, Carlson is 2008, but you can install it on AutoCAD 2000 through 2008. AutoCAD Land, Map, or Civil 3D. So what you install it on will determine what version of DWG you're running. So again, that will certainly come into consideration if you're on 2008 and your folks you're working with and need to deliver a drawing to are on 2000. Well, you're going to have to be able to convert that drawing back as a DWG. But again, having all standard AutoCAD objects makes that a very straightforward process. But it's all DWG. That's what you deliver. They can be running AutoCAD LT, and you can give them a drawing and everything is there. So that's the first thing. As far as civil survey data, one of the key data types, of course, that we work with is point data. And a very common way, and still a real good way, is to just export your point data to a text file. A PNEZD, comma delimited, or whatever format you like. Write it out as a text file, and that can be imported, of course, into any other software. That's one way to go. It's surefire. It's guaranteed. It just always works, always will. And, of course, we obviously facilitate that, and that's one way to go for point data. You can also use Land XML. For all the other data, whatever you need to exchange, and we're talking surfaces, center lines, profiles, parcels, all of that data, thanks to the magic of Land XML. And the beauty of Land XML is you can export that and import with any other application. That's really the main focus of what we'll look at today. So that's really the way it's done, and people kind of say, oh my gosh, it's an extra step. Well, there is a step there, but it's pretty painless. They're concerned people won't understand it, they'll get lost, they won't know what to do. I want to show you how easy it is. It's very straightforward. I just kind of want to make sure you're comfortable with that. Proceeding just quickly through the rest of the slides, what we're talking about here today, again, is Carlson Civil, Survey, Hydrology, GIS, 2008 versions. These all run on AutoCAD, Map, Land, or Civil 3D, versions 2000 through 2008. So whatever version of any of those platforms you have, we're all set. We also have two standalone products, Carlson Survey 2008 and Carlson Roads 2008. Those are products with an AutoCAD DWG engine, OEM, original equipment manufacturer engine built in, and those products basically function the same as what we're going to see today. On this note, let me explain very quickly that if you are running Carlson, let's say civil or survey, and you plug it into AutoCAD, very straightforward. You plug it into map, which is what I run it on, then you have all the map functionality available, and that's great. Great tools there you can use, and so on. If you plug it into Land Desktop, you have Land Desktop version whatever, 4, 5, 6, and you get Carlson, let's say, civil or survey, and you plug it in, you can actually switch have it set up very easily to switch to the Land Desktop menus, and you can use your Land Desktop commands. All your favorite commands, whatever you like, you can continue to use. If, however, any of those commands generate external data, well then what's going to happen is that you're going to be writing then to the Land Desktop project data set. So I just want to be very clear on that. So and you can actually do that now. Carlson will be writing to its data set, but if you run a land command, generate a surface or something, it'll write to the land project. But that's actually a possibility if you plug into land. And if you plug into Civil 3D or install it on top of Civil 3D, a similar situation. Carlson is using the AutoCAD engine, and map is fully available. But Carlson commands are not going to be creating Civil 3D objects. However, all the Civil 3D menus and the tool space are all available, and you can just switch over there and do whatever work you want to do. And actually, basically land XML right while you're live on top of the software. So some interesting possibilities. I just wanted to be clear on, and hopefully that makes sense. And again, I'll be looking at questions a little bit later, and if you have them, go ahead and type them in, and we'll address those in just a little bit. So that's I'm going to shut down the slideshow because I have enough applications running here with Land Desktop, Carlson, and Civil 3D, and again, and GoToMeeting, of course, running as well. So we'll see, but we should be okay. But I'll have as few things running as possible. So let's get rid of PowerPoint. Okay, proceeding. Let me take a quick look, see if there's any critical questions that have come in. Okay, so we've got a number of people that are not getting the call-in part, so bear with me for 1 second, if you would. Let me throw this PowerPoint back up here. Where did it go? Data conversion free. Okay, so there's the number and the access code for the folks that are having trouble with the sound. GoToMeeting, I guess, is looking at bringing the sound over the web with the webinar, but at the moment you need to make these phone calls. So I'll leave that up there for 1 more second, but we need to proceed, so hopefully those people will see that and got it. Okay, we got at least one of them. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this again for now, and I'm going to close PowerPoint 1 more time, and let's proceed. So where I'm at right here is in Land Desktop. I used to be Professor Landnut and spent a lot of time here and enjoyed it, but have moved on, and here is a typical data set. Very simple, but a typical data set. What I've tried to do is represent, some data. So you see the points on the screen. If I say list points, and we come in here and say all points. Okay, we're doing okay. List all points. So here's our point data. Okay. Surfaces, we go to Terrain Model Explorer. I guess I'm still Professor Landnut. I guess once you're Professor Landnut, you're kind of always Professor Landnut. But anyway, bringing up Terrain Model Explorer here. Again, a little bit of a delay because of all the applications I have running. But come on, you can do it. Come on, don't let me down. There we go. Okay, so here's my EG surface. It's existing ground surface built from a point group. Okay, so there we go. No problem. I have an alignment here that I put in the drawing. You can see this alignment that I put through. Let's see, how do we list that? We say alignments, alignment commands, list defined. So there's a couple, Boston and Boston 3. We're going to go with Boston 3. I've got some parcels here. And again, let's see if I can do this. Parcel manager. And, no, it was there, parcel manager. A little rusty, but there's my parcels, 3, 4, 5, and 6, they're numbered. And we have, for the road, we have an existing ground and a proposed finished grade profile. So quite a bit of work that's been done here. So here we go. Here comes the magic. Coming out of Land Desktop on the project menu, Export Land XML. And we go to the Land XML export. It says I'm looking in the Land Desktop project, and I'm seeing points, the number of points, surfaces, 1 surface, 4 parcels, a couple of alignments, and I've gone ahead and said go ahead and include the profiles with the alignments. So that's all the data that we're going to be writing out. So let's go ahead and say export. And it says, okay, we're going to write an XML file. I'm going to go ahead and put it in a real easy place to find on my desktop. I have a Web 1018, and I'm going to call this thing from a Land Desktop, and I'm going to do number 4. I've been doing some experiments here, so let's go to number 4. This for this new one, running everything live for your viewing pleasure here to make sure that this is all real stuff that's happening. Of course, we could face disaster, but we're brave, so we'll continue. So there it is. We're done. It's exported the file, and we close this dialog, and there we are. There's step 1. So any project you have in Land Desktop, there you go. There's all your data coming out of there. Now, in addition, in Survey, let me jump over to the Carlson now, which is right here. A few things I want to point out before I actually bring in that file. First of all, in Carlson Survey, and I'm just going to switch to Carlson Survey for a moment, there's a couple things I want to point out. One of them is edit process raw data file. When you're working with raw data, survey data, this is extremely important here, is in the editor we have import and export. So you can see, I'll leave this up there for a second so you can see it, is just basically a veritable plethora of formats of raw data that we can read, of course, including the ever popular field books. So in talking about survey data, if you have an FBK, bring it right in. It goes right into our editor, into our format, which is an RW5, and you're off and running. And of course, we can bring Land XML, survey raw data, and of course you see the list of all the others. By the same token, we can output a field book, export a field book, we can set up field book codes and so on, and we can export raw to Land XML, and so on, TDS format, whatever you're working with. So I wanted to point out there, major on the topic of conversion, this is a major feature, major thing to be aware of is your survey data. In addition, there's a few other things I wanted to point out. Now, in Carlson, if I go to my settings, Carlson configure, and I go to my general settings, we have up here coordinate file format, and it defaults to our Carlson numeric only, which is a CRD. We call it a CRD, coordinate file. But you can actually run Carlson reading and writing to a Land Desktop points MDB. So if you wanted to just stick with the Land Desktop points MDB, that's an option that we offer to you, and you can just be reading and writing directly into that format. Down here, by the way, now I'm running on top of maps, so the menus that are available are map menus. But if I was plugged into Land, or if you plug Carlson into Land, you'll see your Land Desktop menus. Or, of course, if you install on Civil 3D, you'll see your Civil 3D menus available, and you can just switch menus and go to town. Another thing I wanted to show is under our points menu. Again, we're talking about points a little bit more. We have just an extensive list of converting formats from one to another. So here's a Land MDB to a CRD. You just pick the MDB file and make it into a CRD file that way. We can take Land Desktop points and make them Carlson points. You have the Object Enabler installed. You open a drawing, it has contours and points. We can turn the land points into Carlson points. On the surface menu, we can, where is it? We can convert, there's that import, export surface data. Here's convert land desktop contours. So again, if someone's using land it might not hurt to just maybe explode those contour objects or create them again as polylines, but you don't even have to. If we open a drawing that has contour objects, we can convert those over. We have commands to do that. It's also built into our drawing cleanup. I'll show you that real quick. Here's drawing cleanup, and we have a command, convert land contours and points into Carlson. So again, just to make life easy is what all those commands are for. So again, we're talking about any program that'll import, export land XML. That's the key to this. This includes, Trimble, Geomatic Office, MicroStation, Inroads. Again, I don't have those programs running, but the idea is whatever software you have, this is not an issue to be concerned with. So let's proceed. I'm going to go ahead and bring this file in. Now, what I've got is a new drawing. I just created a new drawing. I called it Exchange. And Carlson has the ability to use projects, but it's optional. It's basically just a data organization feature. You can decide whether to use it or not. I'm using it at the moment. And our CRD file is called Exchange. If I look at my points, I say list points, all, and of course you see there's no point data. And there's no surface, there's nothing. I just created this right before we started, and it's empty. So let's bring it in, and let's see how this goes. So we're going to go to the File menu, and we're going to say Import Land XML Files, and we're going to import from Land XML, and it says, where is the file? And again, I put it up there on my desktop so I could find it easily, so let's go up there on my desktop, Web 1018, from Land, number 4, the one we just made. It kind of shows me a preview of because of course it's a text file, so there's all that stuff's there. So let's go ahead and open it. And we're being prompted for each file name. It shows you what data is going to come in. Okay? And point protection is on. That all looks good. Let's go ahead and start the import. It says, what coordinate file are we going to be writing our point data to? And we're just going to use our current existing CRD, which is Exchange. We could also make a new CRD. One of the beauties of Carlson with point data is the ability to work with multiple coordinate files. So if I wanted this data coming in to go to a new coordinate file and not add to the one, let's say I already had points in this one, but I want to bring in some more, but put them in a new one for safety purposes, I could make a new file. But I'm going to go ahead and bring them into this existing one, which again is empty. So I'll bring it in, and it processes the point data. Now it says it sees some parcels. There were some parcels over there, and they're coming through. Carlson calls that a lot file, an LOT file. So we're going to keep the name from LDT4, or our .LOT lot file. That's fine. Now it says, okay, I see a surface here. I need to make a TIN file. Carlson stores surfaces as a single file, which is a .tin. We're putting EG4.tin. Keep our theme going here. And we come through a little bit further, and here comes our surface on the screen. It's being drawn, contours being drawn. We have a center line, which is called Boston 3, so we'll keep that name. Well, let's call it 4, so we can make sure we recognize it all. So again, I can change names as it comes through. We'll call this one Boston 4. And here comes some more data. So this is the other centerline file that the first one I had tried, which is just called Boston. Let's just use it. Let's just leave it alone. We're not going to go ahead further with that one. And here comes our profiles. Again, Carlson stores these as a .pro file. So here's Boston 3, and this is existing ground. So I'm just going to change that name to Boston 3 hyphen existing ground profile, okay? And now it looks and it says I see one more, and it's the finished ground, Boston 3 finished ground. So let's go ahead and take out all this extraneous stuff with the parentheses, which scare me a little bit. I actually tried it and it works fine, but special characters like that over the years. Going back to the DOS days, those of you that were there with me back then, those special characters kind of give us nightmares, so I still avoid them. Old habits die hard. So Boston 3FG, and it processes that, and it says, okay, Here's the center line for this other road, Boston. I'm just going to leave that one because we're not going to use it. Anything else? This is that finished grade for that other center line. And I think we're all set. So here we go. So here's our surface. Let's look at our point data first. We like points, list points. I showed this just a moment ago. I now show you all the points are here. Came through just fine. There's some center line shots. Proposed center lines at elevation 0 because they're just proposed stakeout, but that's fine. Points are there. Let's look at there. You can see the contours obviously are all set. Well, they even got labeled for us, which is kind of nice. Text. We have just standard text for our labels and standard polylines. This is kind of cool though. If I say on the surface menu, contour labels, and I say move along the contour, and I pick this label, and it slides along the contour. I just had to show you that because it's pretty cool. And again, this is with a standard AutoCAD text and a standard AutoCAD polyline. There's a little wipeout behind the label, but there it is, and we're all set there. Let's take a look at the surface, make sure it's real. I'm going to switch over to Civil at this point. I know the menu's a little bit better. We'll go to 3D View, Surface Viewer, and EG410. And let's take a look. There it is. Okay, so there's our nice surface. Came through just fine. Just fine. Nothing to worry about. Okay, so let's see what else we have. We have parcels. Let's look at those. We'll go to our lot file manager, and we have an existing lot file from Land Desktop 4. It's an LOT file. We open it in our manager. Here's the lots. I could select them all. Let's do a report. Okay, here's all the lots with their data, bearings, distance, everything. And let's go ahead and draw them in our drawing. Draw polylines, label. Let's label everything. Why not as it comes in? Say OK. And this is for the line labels and the lot labels. And we'll see those in here now. Okay, so here's our lots came through with the labels and the bearings on all the lots. So now our lots are there. That's no problem. Those came through. Let me go ahead and I think I should freeze these contours. Might make things a little easier to see. Can I do that? Well, let's just, yeah, I guess do that. Just so you can see the parcels a little better. What else did we have? Center line. Center line, let's draw out the center line file. On layer C line, Boston 4, there's the center line that we created. If I double click on it, Carlson recognizes that polyline's a polyline, but it has data that tells us it's more than a polyline. So there it is. I have my editor. And then let's draw, we have profiles too. So let's say draw profiles. And I'm going to clear this and add, let's see, where are those? Boston, oh, Boston 3, yeah, Boston 4. The center line, I didn't change the name. So it's this one, and here's FG. So here's the existing and proposed, and here's how we set everything up, all the details, 50 and 10, and grids, and so on. I'm going to go into those details right now. Minimum, maximum, and so on. We'll draw that on the screen. And there's our profiles generated. So there you go. Everything really just came through flawlessly, and that's just the way it works. I'll go ahead and save the drawing. So coming from Land, that whole data set comes into Carlson, and we're all set. Let's do this. While we're here, what time is it? 12:30. Here's the steps I'd like to take. I'm going to add another road, make a road network very quickly for you. Some of you have seen this before, but we'll just do it again real quick, and we'll make a surface, and then we will save everything, and we'll export out of Carlson an XML, and let's bring that into Civil 3D, and then we'll try and take some questions. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore these lots for now. I'm just going to erase them right off the screen because I want to put a road over there. And we're just going to pretend that that's not there. Let's set this layer as current, and we'll draw an AutoCAD polyline from near right here. And let's just come over here like that. And now let's go to our road network, because this is kind of cool. We can add another road. So let's make a new RDN file. The file name will be, let's call it exchange. I like that, exchange. That's a road network file. Okay. What's our target surface? Our target surface will be existing ground 4. And we're going to output a surface, triangulate and contour. We're going to output a surface. Let's skip the faces. No, let's draw the faces. And we'll use colors of the template components. We'll write out a tin file, which we'll call road net. And let's call it 4 so that we don't make sure we know which one it is. Let's go ahead and draw contours. Don't need labels. Now, another very exciting thing that we can do with Carlson is in this 2008 version, we can write a serve.ce file, a single file, and have this entire road network available to stake out in serve.ce. That's our data collection software that runs on your data collector in the field. The new version is 2.0 or 2 point something, but it's the 2.02 version, and it can accept these files. It's a RNF, it's a road network file. Let's call it exchange, so we keep track of these names, and let's put it in our Carlson webinar October 18th folder, so we remember where that is. And we're going to write this entire network out. Again, talking about exchanging data, this goes right out to serve.ce, and you take it in the field and stake out the whole network. It's quite extraordinary. Okay, so those are our output options. So let's add our roads. The first one is a centerline file. It's called Boston 4. And the profile, we'll make a new profile. And that's fine. The centerline we're fine with. The profile, let's edit it. It samples existing ground. It shows us where we are in the profile. Let's throw in a PVI. I'm going to do this very quickly because it's not the focus for today, but I just couldn't resist. I had to have a little fun here. So we'll throw that in. Let's throw in another PVI right here. Oh, we'll do another 120-foot vertical curve. There we go. And, of course, if we want to move the vertical curves, we just drag them and drop them wherever we need to do that. If you haven't seen that before, it's amazing. And please look at the webinars on that for more detailed information. But let's proceed. The template we're going to use, I think I'm going to grab, well, let's make a template. We'll make a new one. exchange 12-foot lanes. Let's go ahead and edit that template. We'll put in 12-foot lanes with a -2% cross slope for 12 feet. We'll call that the lane. And let's just throw curbs on here, throw some curbs, and then let's just do cut and fill from there. Okay, so we'll just keep it super simple, but that's basically how we make templates. More complicated is just as easy. Let's put a subgrade. You're like, well, what about a subgrade? Okay, 0, we'll make it 4 inches for the full 12 feet of asphalt, and so on. So there's our template with our asphalt stuff, just to show you. So we'll save and exit. So now we have that. So now let's process this road. Okay, we process the road, and we get the whole grading of the road, and then so on and so forth, of course. All done. Now let's add the other road. Screen pick this polyline here. Give it a name. Let's call it Boston 4B. Lack of a better name. We'll make a profile for it. Let's edit that center line and fit a curve. Put in what should we put in? A 100-foot radius curve. What's that look like? That'll work. Save and exit. Let's look at the profile. Okay, notice it ties into the other road because it knows it needs to. That's quite a bit of cut there, so let's throw in a PVI with a 120-foot vertical curve. Make it fit the ground a little. Oh, let's move it up a little bit. Push it up here a little bit, somewhere right in there. That'll do. Again, not focusing on that today, but get the idea. Use the same template. Process the two roads together, and we now have the road network forming with two roads, and we just add them from here. Totally 3D. I'll say cube, all, and you'll see the road network in 3D with the intersection all graded and so on. Pretty cool stuff. So the first road came from Land Desktop, bring it into Carlson, add a second road, and now we've got a surface of it. We've got that external file that we've got. So let's go ahead and save and exit. Okay, and we'll save our drawing, and let's proceed. So let's take this out of Carlson and go into Civil 3D. What time is it? 12:37. It'll take us a few minutes, then we'll be able to answer questions for another 15 or maybe say 15 minutes. Okay, so File, Import, Export, Land XML. We're going to export, and we have current drawing data files, and we have project data files, and we can just select any assorted data files. Because I haven't made a project specifically, which I can go back and do, probably work with the current drawing because we know which files that we've worked with. So it says you're going to make an XML file. Let's make a new one, and we're going to put it up here in my on my desktop, and we're going to call it Exchange 4, just so again we'll use that number 4. And it doesn't recognize the files, so we'd have to add them. Well, let me back up here, and let me do this. I think we should do this. Let's say Project Explorer, and it says, what's your project file? Let's make a new one, Exchange. And let's add a drawing to this project. So we're going to go to Carlson Projects, and I've called the project that I'm working in is called Webinar October 1018, and the drawing I'm in is called Exchange. Now when I tell it to use that drawing, it finds all of the associated files. So now when I do export, and I say export to Land XML, and I say use the project data files, let's use this PRJ file, and we'll export to an existing, which we call Exchange. No, we make a new one, I guess. Exchange, I guess it didn't save it, Exchange 4. Okay, and now it has all of the data files that are associated with this drawing. Okay, so I just needed to take that step of setting up a Carlson project. Again, they're optional for most of the work we do, well, for all the work we do, but in this case, it was beneficial to go ahead and do that. So we continue, and it says create assignments, centerlines, profiles, and cross-sections. We'll just continue. Okay, continue now. So let's say Boston 4 CL, and we set it to the 4 and this one. Set assignment. Okay, oh, I see. Boston 4 profile, Boston 4 CL, Boston 4 CL, 4B. Now I'm getting confused with all my naming here. 4 CL is this one. And I think that's it. Okay, so let's do that. And go ahead and export all of these files. Okay, so there's our file. So let's save our drawing, because we need to come back, and let's jump over here to Civil 3D. Civil 3D. I've got a new drawing I just started right before the webinar, and I used a template, the LDT template actually. So we've got some styles and so on, and we're just going to go right to importing, and we're going to import Land XML. So we'll go find our file, baby. There we go. And exchange 4 is our file. And we have points, parcels, alignments, and a couple surfaces. Interesting. So let's proceed. See how we do. Okay, reading all that data. And, okay, those look fine. We'll close the panorama. And here we are, Civil 3D, and there's everything. We've got our surface. You can see we've got our points. Let's take a look. There's our point group, all points, of course. Our surfaces. We have the road surface and the existing ground surface as well. So here's that entire road surface that we generated out of Carlson. That's kind of cool. We could look at that in orbit. Should we do that? Let's take a look at that and say 3D orbit. And take the whole thing, as we've taken the whole thing. Well, that's okay. Orbit this thing into this view and right click and conceptual. Go. So there's our surface. And we've got our road surface in there and everything. Okay, so just kind of interesting. Okay, preset views, back to the top preset view, and let's do shade mode. There's probably a better way. Someone out there is going, no, don't do it that way, but this works. Shade mode, 2D, back to 2D wireframe. There's our center lines, all stationed as centerline objects in Civil 3D. There's our parcels. Under sites, we have our site 1 with our parcels. There's all of our parcels. And I think, what else can we do? We can do, under alignments, we can do Boston 4. Oh, that's right, the 2 rows. Okay, so let's do profiles. Oops, I don't want to export yet. And we could draw them. Oh, it's over here on the profile menu. Create profile view. Rusty here. And Boston 4. Let's see if this works. Next, next, next. Oh, and we only have finished ground because I didn't do this. That's my mistake. But anyway, let's just show you the profile view. And there we go. There's our profile view for the proposed. I just missed the existing. That was my mistake. But the point is made. From Land Desktop, take all this data, XML it over. So Carlson EWG can be opened in Land or in Civil 3D. Added added another network, built a road network, and so on. And then into Civil 3D, everything's here, exchanging. And obviously work here, XML it back to Carlson, back to Land, of course, if necessary. It's all there. It's very easy to do, and that was really my point. Now, let me show you if I have time. One more thing, if I can pull this off here. I'll try and be brave and try one more interesting thing for the Serve CE users. Here's my Serve CE demo. This is the desktop version. And let's make a new job, and we'll make it an exchange CRD. And let me just make sure that you're seeing this. Let's see, audience view. Yeah, so it's very small. It's going to be very small for you actually to see. But basically this, and I can't move it, this is our emulator on the PC. But basically, the idea is I can come in here and write and view this entire road network in Serve CE. And it's so small on your screen, I can't make it any bigger. I don't think I'm going to proceed with this. Let me go to the questions and see what I can do there. But basically, the idea is that I can bring this entire job in. So I would go to Roads, and I would say, take the road while I go find it. Go up, up. Carlson Projects, web. Let me just show you this. Web. Oh, here's the RNF file right here. So we load it, and I say select a RoadNet element. And what you're seeing here, and again, I apologize it's so small, but you can hopefully still, I'm looking at what you're looking at. It's there. There's my road network. I'm in CE now. Imagine I'm in the field with a data collector, the Explorer or the Allegro or whatever you're using out there, and I've got the graphic view, and I go, I want to stake out this road. I pick it, and I say OK, and there's all of the data, the center line, the profile, the template. It's all there, ready to stake out. The field crew can do whatever offsets they need, whatever they need to do. So the entire road network has now been sent out to the field. So talking about drawing exchange and conversion, I think that's an important thing to show. So moving very quickly, but let's look at some questions. I'll see what I can do. I'll answer as many as I can. You'll probably be seeing them as well. And let's see, how do I bring these up full screen? How do I bring them up? Bring this out a bit wider. Okay, so let me start at the top real quick. Call. Hello, anyone answering questions? Well, we are now. This is my first webinar. Okay, so those are all questions about calling in. Okay. Civil 3D commands are disabled on installation of Carlson? Question mark. No, Civil 3D commands are not disabled. Let me grab Dave. Hang on one second. Okay, trying to find Dave to help me with these, and hopefully he'll be back. But Civil 3D commands are not disabled on the installation of Carlson on top of Civil 3D. They should work just fine. And again, you got to be careful because you'll create a surface or whatever, and it'll be Civil 3D. But the other commands, everything should be working. Okay, let's see if I can get the next one. Okay. Someone's writing, will the instability of Civil 3D have any effect on the Carlson product while running on Civil 3D software? I didn't write that question. That's a tough one. No. You know, I'm just going to go. I don't know how to answer. Where's the sound? Okay, we got that one. Can you import TopCon PT3 files? That one I don't know, and I need to get Dave on that one. Possibilities of importing, exporting ArcGIS TIN file data. Hold on one second, and well, let me see if I can answer another one. There he is. Okay, Dave, come on back in here, please, and help me with these questions. He ran out on me. Dave Carlson is our lead developer, and he's going to help me with some of these questions. Civil 3D commands are disabled on installation of Carlson. No, they're not. They should work fine. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to load the menu to get the commands, but they should work. Can we import TopCon PT3 files? Is the question. Not familiar with those, maybe? LN3, GC3, GN3, which is maybe what he meant.
That's a
point file. We're not sure, but not sure if you could email me, G Rosen at Carlson SW, and we can follow up with that one, Greg. Possibility of importing, exporting ArcGIS TIN file data. Can we deal with ArcGIS TIN file data, or
No.
Or we don't know that one. I don't know if they do XML. It's something we can look into. Again, that's from Craig. If you could email me, and we'll try and follow up on that one. Can the contour labels be set to not break the line and come in on a different layer and color than the contour? Actually, that's what I had. The contour labels actually did not break the line. It just, there was a wipeout under the label, which, or the line can just go right through it and not break it. I had it, the polyline contour was continuous. I just had the wipeout there to hide the line. And of course, the text, the label and the contour polyline are on different layers, so you certainly can give them different colors. When getting GeoPack info, would we request the entire GeoPack project?
Not very individual files.
Individual files from GeoPack, not the entire project currently. Something we maybe could look at or something. Will you have a SiteNet webinar? Yeah, we will. Now, there's been a pretty good shot of part of one in one of the ones I did. It's posted up on the web, and it does RoadNet, LotNet, and SiteNet, but it does get into SiteNet. But we have not done one specifically on SiteNet. Was that the focus? Yeah, that was the focus, but I used LotNet and Site and RoadNet to get with the data for SiteNet is what I did. But we could do another one on SiteNet, maybe just on SiteNet using the topsoil removal and stuff like that. Maybe we can even get our takeoff expert on that. Does Carlson support dual monitors?
Yeah.
I believe so. Now, I was at a place the other day, and I was surprised. A guy had dual monitors. He was not able to move his drawing. He had two drawings open, and he was not able to move one drawing to the other monitor. I don't think that's a Carlson issue. I think that's evidently maybe an AutoCAD issue. I was surprised. I don't run dual monitors. I run a laptop. So that's something we could look at. But he was not able to put one drawing on each screen. But anyway, I would assume we support dual monitors otherwise. Do you have to export to XML, or can you just open an AutoCAD DWG? You can certainly just open a DWG, of course. Good question, but you can just open a DWG in Carlson. The XML was just specifically to get the data written into Carlson format specifically. You can open any drawing in Carlson and go with it, and if there's a polyline, you can use it to define a center line and so on. What I was trying to do today was just to get the data converted using XML, but you certainly don't have to. Brian says, good presentation. Thank you. What is an ACAD proxy entity, and how do you import and use it? Very quickly, a proxy entity is going to show up if you're running plain AutoCAD and you open a drawing with custom objects like contours or points from land, let's say, and you don't have the object enabler, then they're going to show up as proxies, which you really can't do anything with. They're proxies like when you vote. A proxy vote is a stand-in. These are stand-in objects. They're just holding the place because what you really need, if you have proxies, is you need to install the object enabler so that you'll see the actual object, let's say the contour object, and again, if you're then working with Carlson, you would then want to convert it to a polyline. The only thing I see is your desktop. That's all I'm showing right now. Who and where is the guy on the wallpaper? That is Professor Bob Shampoo of UNH, a good friend of mine, and he is in Antarctica surveying a 10,000-foot runway at McMurdo. He goes down there on a regular basis, and that's what he's doing down there. Good question. Do you need to use new drawings every time you import land XML? You do not have to use new drawings. You can continue to use the same drawing. Now, let's say you're XMLing in some point data, and your coordinate file has point data in it. Well, that's where point protection comes into play, or you could write to a new coordinate file, but you certainly do not have to open a new drawing every time. Good presentation, a little too fast to follow, and I appreciate that comment, and I apologize. I had so much I wanted to get through, and I know I was racing through, some of the road network stuff was just kind of a little bonus I couldn't avoid. We certainly have full hour presentations on that, but the main focus was the Exchange today, which I hopefully we demonstrated. That's true, and it is recorded. It'll be on the website, and then you can slow it down, watch it in slow motion, or just pause it. The problem, someone's helping me here. The problem with dual monitors is the way he has it set up in Windows. We're running dual monitors, and we can move all files from monitor to monitor. So even if you have two drawings open, you can move one drawing over, if that's what you're saying. Dual monitor, just open the software twice. Yeah, if you open the software twice, that one I understood. That's what we're trying to avoid. We could do it that way, but the idea is we support multiple documents, as does Civil 3D, but LAN does not. So moving from LAN desktop, one of the beautiful things is we now have multiple documents. In Carlson, the hope was to start the software once, but put one drawing on each screen. That's what we were hoping to do, and we're not able to do. But someone's saying that may just be a configuration issue. But if anybody has more information on that, please email me, g.rosen@carlsonsw. So we're just coming up on 1 o'clock. Thanks for all the great questions. Here's a little more. The dual monitor is to put commands on one screen and a picture on the other. Now, I understand that, too. In fact, when I started in this business, everyone had dual monitors, but that was because one was a monochrome monitor, and it was only probably $1,500, and it was for the text screen. And then the expensive $2,500 monitor was for the color screen for the drawing. So we would put text on one screen and the drawing on the other back in the day. And then, of course, that all went away, and now dual monitors have come back. And, of course, now they're $300 for 17-inch flat screens. But the hope was to have two drawings open with one session of the program and slide one drawing over to the other monitor, and we were not able to do that. So anyway, more feedback, please email me. But again, the focus for today, exchanging data, not to worry, not an issue, not a problem. You are not going to be abandoning your customers. You're not going to be creating stuff no one can use. All those things are just legitimate concerns, but not anything to worry about. Hopefully I've demonstrated that today. Any follow-ups, please email me. Please go to the website. Look for information there. You'll see the recorded webinars along with probably 15 or so others. And stay in touch and keep an eye out for the next webinar. I'm not exactly sure what it is or when it is, but it'll probably be within a couple weeks. We'll be doing something new. If you have suggestions, please send those in. Keep the cards and letters coming, and thanks for your time today. Appreciate you spending the lunch hour with us.